What if there was a gentle, fast, non invasive, and effective way to deal with challenging emotions and limiting beliefs that are blocking your healing and, frankly, holding you back in any area of your life? Well, there is, and that's what we're talking about today on Wellness by Design. My name is Jane Hogan, the Wellness Engineer. I'm your host today, and I am interviewing psychotherapist Colette Streicher. Now, Colette is the brains behind the MAP method, Make Anything Possible method, and she has a mission to help raise up humanity. You're going to learn about the MAP method today and get a little taste of it, and also how you can learn more about it. So make sure you stay tuned until the end to hear what Colette has to say and the little experience that she's going to give you. Now, if you're new here, welcome. I'm so delighted that you're here. And if you're a longtime watcher and listener and subscriber, thank you so much. You have helped Wellness by Design become a top 3% podcast in the entire world, which still blows my mind. And I'm so, so grateful to you. Now, if you know anyone who needs to hear this, who's dealing with chronic pain or any other health challenges, then tell them about the podcast. Share the episode with them. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and also leave a comment or a review. I love to hear from you. We answer all the comments, so it would mean the world to us if you do that. Now, if you haven't already got your free chapter of my book, Pain Free on Purpose, Use Your Mind to Heal Your Body and Get Your Life Back, then you can do that now. You just go to thewellnessengineer.com. Right on the homepage, there's a way for you to download that free chapter and get a little taste of my background. It starts with my rock bottom moment and tells you what led me to become the wellness engineer and do the work that I'm doing now, and a little taste of the method that I used, my design blueprint. Okay, I'll see you inside the episode. Colette Streicher, welcome to Wellness by Design. I am so excited to have you here today. We met a few months ago, and I just love your work. It's all the things that I love, and I'm really, really looking forward to sharing this with the audience today. So welcome.
Thank you, Jane. I love being here. I love sharing my work. And I also loved meeting you in Cancun, exotic place.
Yeah,
Best place to meet your friend.
yes, and we had such a wonderful time, and you are one of the most joyful people I know. And I love that for someone that helps people with their mind and releasing the thought patterns that are keeping them stuck. So let's talk a little bit about your background and what led you to the work that you're doing now.
Well, it all began in France, if you can hear my accent. It's even though I live in Texas, it's not an accent from Texas. It began in France. I was born there, and my mom was really extremely depressed. She was a veteran. She's been in several wars, and she never wanted to live. So if I want to go deep, I would say one day I saw her on the floor and I thought she had passed. And so I began crying and crying and crying. And at one point, I turned around and said, "That's it. I'm tired of that. I'm going to be happy. And I'm going to have a happy family. And I'm going to help those who really want to be happy. That's it." And I shifted into my power. And from then on, it was 9, but at 12, I was reading Freud. At 17, I was studying, and I never stopped my entire life.
Your mom hadn't passed, though.
No, she hadn't. Eventually, we discovered that. But, as a child, You never know. You don't
You
understand. You begin crying, crying, crying. And
mm,
then, an hour later, she was okay. She woke up. But
but
she had had,
this was your turning point.
yes, that was the turning point.
Mm.
She did pass later, but not that time.
So you decided at a very young age to dedicate your life and your work to helping people feel happy.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And so you started reading Freud. What else happened?
Well, I had a low self esteem at the time. My sister was really violent towards me. So I had low self esteem and I decided to heal my self esteem. So one day I created a technique. I sat down on my desk and it's a very simple technique, but it does work. And I listed on the left, what is not good about me. And then on the right, what is good about me. So I wanted to see the truth, the facts. And I had a hard time finding what was not good about me. I could find, I have a good heart. I want to help. I was just a good girl. And I realized, why? Why am I torturing myself with that?
Hmm.
It's not worth it. So my self-esteem raised. And I was 12 when I did that. So created my own technique.
Wow.
Uh, yes. And then it kept going and going because what I really knew from the beginning is that the mind is really the most important thing, because when you don't have your mind, even if you have your body,
Not
you don't
much
have it.
point, really.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have anything. But
Mm.
when you have your body, even when your body is sick, but you still have your mind, you have the ability to change, to shift, to transform, to find some kind of peace, then all is much better. So I realized, wow, the mind is the core of life. So I want to master that. So I began reading Freud. I was 12 and analyzing my dream, changing my self-esteem. And then at 17, I began to be sick. I had bronchitis almost, months at a time, never getting out of it, antibiotics for a whole year. And that's when I got into health, physical health, but also energetic health. I got into Japanese medicine, so
Mm.
into shiatsu, the massage, the meridians, and then the food, the nutrition, and eventually I healed my body. So I studied for about 10 years and was fascinated by the energy and the Chinese medicine and the 5 elements and all of that. So
Mm.
that was, fascinating. And I loved that. And then I lost a friend, a teacher of that to cancer. And
Mm.
I realized she has had so many traumas that year, like she lost so many people and family members and animals. And I realized, and I knew there's a connection between the mind and the body. And even though she was eating well, she
Mm.
was doing the shiatsu because she was there was a part of it she didn't do. She didn't do the work, the inner work.
Mm.
And that launched me into psychology. I wanted to be the best I could. So I moved from Paris to Chicago in 1995. And I, of course, had to do the traditional curriculum at the university, eventually get a master's degree and specializing in family therapy. But inside of me, remembering my mom, I knew that she would not accept a long talk therapy. That's why she passed away. She
Mhm.
was not getting any help and it was too painful, too long. You don't have years to go when you're not wanting to live. So so I was immediately looking for the alternative. That's why I came to America. And I found the world of energy psychology and EFT. Jane, have you heard of that?
Yeah, emotional freedom technique,
Yes.
tapping. Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was trained by Gary Craig in 1995. And then, it was an entire new field at the time. And there was different methods that came out of it. And I kept studying those for about 15 years. Some of them specialized in chakra balancing. And I mean, it was amazing. And so by that time, I had about 30 years of studying, the body, the energy, the spirituality. In between, there was spirituality, consciousness, exploration, meditation, mindfulness. I mean, I had done it all, more or less. And what really was the next step for my development and the development of the MAP method was that, of course, I was on a quest. I was always looking for faster, gentler. I wanted to avoid re-traumatization, because what I didn't tell you is when I became a young mom, I ended up being extremely depressed, like my mom.
Oh, and so you were afraid of going down the same road.
Yes. And what happened is I went to therapy, but it was talk therapy and it was trauma therapy. And it lasted for years before I felt better. And so I had experienced that road. So I came to America for a faster trip, the best, the cutting edge. So I did have to go to the traditional, which I appreciate. You do need to have your basis. But at the same time, I discovered energy psychology, EFT, and then many other methods. And as I said, I was always about gentleness. So we don't re-traumatize the client. Each time you talk about a trauma, you actually rewire the brain negatively.
Doesn't make sense.
No, I mean, in some way you want to be heard. I mean, there is a part of it that makes some sense, but after a while, it is just not helpful. So that's what I wanted. I also wanted something simpler, because I had some of the methods I studied for 15 years. As I tell some of them, you cross your legs, you cross your arms, you tap here, you think that. And, a baby cannot do that.
Right.
And babies are traumatized, children, 3 years old. I mean, so I wanted to be able to help everyone, not just who are conscious enough and, intelligent and everything. They can talk, they can explain, they can know everyone. So I was looking for that. And there was another thing. That's why I kept studying for 15 years, is I was on a quest to completeness. Along the years, I had discovered that the subconscious memories, they are recorded everywhere in the body, in the mind, in the energy system, in the story of the soul. And if you just talk about something, it is just the mind. But your listeners know that the emotions are recorded in the body, like every cell of the body. I'm sure you've interviewed people who are talking about that. The memories in the DNA, for example. Now it has been proven that the traumas are recorded from generation to generation in the DNA.
It's fascinating.
Yes.
So, but also, people are, well, what am I going to do? It's in my DNA.
Great question, because with MAP we can, and we are doing generational healing. And that's why it's so important to address subconscious memories at every level of the DNA. Then even the surface of every cell records emotions. Have you heard about Candace Pert?
Yes. I love her book, The Molecules of Emotion.
Yes. And she explains there about every emotion has a certain neuropeptide, a protein, if you want, that is anchored on the cell of each cells of your body. But
there's a receptor, right? There's a receptor for each peptide.
Exactly. And it's like a lock. Yeah. So there is a lock for worry, a lock for fear, a lock for anger, etc. And not only it's in the body, but she had discovered it was mostly around the endocrine system, that the ancient therapies of India, Ayurvedic therapies and yoga talk about chakra centers. Well, she discovered that they were mostly around those centers, like the throat, for example, with the thyroid. You have lots of memories there about communication that have not been finished, like unfinished communications affects your thyroid. So you begin to connect the dots between the emotions, the memories, the traumas, the body, affecting even the nervous system and its ability to heal. So it's all interconnected.
And each of the chakras is associated with an endocrine gland, right?
Yes, that's what creates, the connection between biology and ancient wisdom. They have connected the dots now. So you can call it chakra, energy centers, or endocrines.
Yeah.
Yes.
However it works in your, in anyone's framework and belief system, but it is all connected. We are energy. We are chemistry. We are biology. We are electrical, right? It's all connected.
Yes. And so my passion was to be complete, like the force of the question that I had, how could we be complete? Psychology. So I went to different methods, and each one of them were using only or addressing only one type of subconscious memories. The ones in the brain, the ones in the chakra, the ones in the acupuncture points with the organs in Chinese medicine and EFT, for example. Wonderful. Each one is wonderful. One of them is biodecoding of the DNA. So it was just focusing on the generational memories that you had to remember consciously and interview your grandfathers. And I mean, it's extremely difficult. And then some different timelines, different past lives, there are different viewpoints there, but definitely there is some research also in that domain. So we have to address them all in order to be complete. And that was my quest. That's why I kept studying and couldn't find any complete method.
So you made your own.
Yes, I made my own.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned it a couple of times, the MAP method. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but just for the people that might be hearing it for the first time, okay, what is this? It stands for Make Anything Possible, MAP, MAP method. And it's a beautiful, simple method. So let's hear a little bit more about it.
All right.
Or wherever you want to jump in with this, Colette.
Yes. So what happened is I had a client fly from France, and she had a bipolar disorder. She didn't tell me. But when I realized that, I had to send her back. Of course, I was not equipped, for those mood disorders. I'm not a psychiatrist. So I realized, okay, let's go into psychiatry now. So I plunged into psychiatry, trying to find an alternative psychiatry. And that's when I found the work of Dr. Flint. And Dr. Flint was a psychologist, but he was very open-minded, and he had discovered something amazing, that we could train a part of the mind to heal itself. And for him, it was the subconscious mind to heal itself. And that was good. And it was wonderful. And I asked me and my son, Valentin, who is a coach, we asked for his mentorship, and he accepted. So it was amazing. And soon enough, I realized it was still not complete. You see, because he didn't address the chakra system, the cellular memories, all of that. He was a psychologist. So I was wondering, how can we do that? And then I got a message from the universe.
I love it. Hello, Colette.
It ended up looking like 20 times a day, the thought superconscious came to my mind. And I had never thought about that word my entire life. Superconscious, who thinks about that? And I was like, superconscious what? Please give me a sentence. But 3 weeks later, it's still super conscious. It's like, okay, and I have to do some research. I'll find out. And I discovered that, yes, the superconscious is the part of us that has the wisdom beyond the conscious mind, beyond the subconscious programs, because the subconscious is mainly like a sponge of memories, recording everything I've ever done, ever seen, ever experienced. That's all it is. It's like a program now that we are in the robotic age, it's like a program of a robot, but obviously we're not robots.
Mm.
So there is a part of us that is wisdom, that has awareness, can be found in meditation through mindfulness and being aware of what is, instead of being locked into the beliefs and the emotions and the memories. There is a part of us that is the observer, that
Yes.
knows everything, remembers everything, has never been hurt. This is fundamental. Never been hurt. It is the pure, neutral, non-judgmental, pure love observer that records everything.
Would this be what some people call, your higher self, your wiser self, your soul? Is it another word for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's exactly it.
Okay.
Because you can call it your higher self, your higher mind. I mean, there are so many words. As long as you get out of the programs of the brain, then it's philosophical, but it exists through experience, through meditation, through your own awareness, that there is something bigger than this physical costume.
I mean, not to mention the thousands of documented cases of like near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences. So there's something beyond just the body. I think that's unquestionable, really.
That's true. At this age, when you look at the facts and even the research, they have research now on past lives, and they have universities dedicating their time to all of that, to the body, to the near-death experiences. So there is a soul, there is a wisdom. Let's call it wisdom. It's pretty neutral. So I got the idea then. I said, oh, I get it. There is this wisdom. What if we ask the wisdom to help? It's not just the observer. And that was the huge shift that happened, because up to now we thought that wisdom was just the observer. But I say, what if we can literally connect and ask that wisdom to help to find the memories wherever they are, in this cell, in that thing, in that generational history, wherever the memories are, find them and then neutralize them. And so I talked to Dr. Flint. He says it's a genius idea. So here we go. We begin to have amazing results, like mind-blowing results. Because,
And so obviously we can't really talk about how you do it, but so you're working with that super conscious mind, which is all knowing, all loving, and asking for it to help.
Yes. That's a kind of shortcut. The good news is it means like that you don't have to talk about it, that you don't have to know where things have begun, because the subconscious knows.
We don't have to figure out, right? It's not the figuring out.
There's no more figuring out. Now, the figuring out happens in the conscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is about 5% of the deal. So we know nothing, not really, very little, to be honest. So most of the memories are before you were 3 years old, before you could even talk, in the womb. I mean, there's no way you can remember any of that.
Right.
Generational. There's no way you can remember all of that. So the good news with MAP is we can address all of that. So it makes it finally a complete method. And that's why the results are showing that way.
So with the MAP method, are you sort of like tackling these different parts separately, or is it all together? Like, are we looking at the subconscious? Are we looking at conscious memories? Are we like working with the superconscious? Is it like 3 different pathways to get us to where we want to go? Or is it, is it sort of an all-encompassing system?
Oh, that's a good question. It's completely holistic. We let the subconscious find wherever it is. So what we do just in a session to be explaining that, you bring up, let's say it's an accident, a car accident. You bring up the car accident or a childhood memory. And you just bring up that one thing that that you remember. Could be a week ago, could be, but something that bothers you, obviously, that still have emotions around. So you remember that, a pattern, a communication, a trauma, whatever it is. And all you have to do is sit back, be the observer, while the coach, like me in that workshop that I share when I share how to do to explain an experience map. In that workshop, I would ask everyone to just bring up this event and then just sit back and notice what is different. Be the observer if you want. And then I'm giving the instructions to the superconscious to go and search for wherever the memories are. And I have what we call a map. That's why it's called map also. It's like a map of all the subconscious and types of memories possible that we have gathered along the years. Now, this method is 11 years old, so there's a lot of wisdom in it. And we ask the superconscious to find where the memories are, and I just give it a little bit of instructions. Let's look into the energy system and this and that and the chakras, and then the superconscious looks into that and finds what is not aligned and begin the work. And it's like you're launching your computer to do a cleanup, like a virus scan, if you want. Great bad idea. And you're just observing it being done, like we observe AI, doing the work on the side. You just observe it being done.
Ooh, it's like you've made an agent.
Yes.
So are you verbally giving this instruction like to the group so that they can hear the instruction?
Yes. But they don't have to do anything consciously. It's mainly their superconscious hears the instructions. And it can be done in group, like you're saying. Of course, it's one-on-one too, but in groups, which is a super benefit to help more people in an affordable way to get the help they need, because it can be done in groups. And it's private because you don't have to talk about it.
Right.
Yes.
So it's private. They don't have to talk about it. They don't have to get re-traumatized. And as you said, there could be memories back there that are controlling behaviors, controlling the nervous system, controlling cell reproduction that they're not even aware of anyway.
No, that could not be addressed any other way. I mean, consciously, definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love it. So you mentioned this workshop. You want to talk a little bit more about the workshop?
Yes, why not? Because the best way to experience MAP is to experience. I know you could say the best way to know about MAP, to understand it, is to actually experience it, because it's so different. It's hard to imagine and to even get the feel of it. So I give a workshop very regularly, a few times a week. And during that workshop, it's about 2 hours. I explain what is MAP, more about the story and some case studies and all of that. And then we do the experience, and we neutralize a memory during the workshop so that you will know how it works and how it works for you, and you will be more knowledgeable and understanding of the method.
So this is, you're neutralizing a conscious or a subconscious memory.
The thing is, I am asking for the first time to do this workshop in group. I'm asking for a conscious memory.
Okay.
Like a car accident or a fight with someone. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because what I am doing is I'm using that little trigger, if you want, so that there is something to work on, a pattern, like a or a height phobia. Last time I got someone who had a height phobia. So she remembered the last time she was in an elevator, for example, and she had this panic attack. Okay. You can remember that, but then the subconscious goes to the origin of it. Then it goes to the subconscious. You know that now it's the entrance door. It's like the tip of the iceberg, or it's like an ant hill. And then it goes into the ant farm and it finds out this happened and that happened. And this is the origin. And sometimes it is generational. Sometimes it is even different timelines and lifetimes. And poof, it connects all the dots and neutralize all of those at the same time.
So that's when you're doing in a group session. So you mentioned someone with height. Like what other types of experiences or results have people had in just your workshop? And then we could talk about beyond the workshop.
Oh, in my workshop, last time there was someone who has been in with her father, for years, like a lifetime of fight and disconnect and all of that. And she ended up, I mean, you know, everyone is different, but she ended up healing a relationship with her dad and getting to forgiveness. And this was just actually during the session, which is about 30 minutes. And she understood, she connected the dots, she realized where it came from, etc. And then she felt whole. Could be, every time, like a traumatic event in childhood, or a diagnosis with someone who was diagnosed. And she was 10 out of 10 of anxiety, and then it released and relaxed. And when you relaxed about your diagnosis moment, which is actually known to be, you know, if you want to use big words, traumatic, but to be stressful.
For sure.
When you clear that, well, then there is energy to heal that is available to you after that.
Takes so much energy to keep that protection up, right? And deal with anxiety or stress or whatever we want to call it. Colette, a lot of people that listen to this podcast have chronic pain or other chronic conditions. Have you seen results with chronic pain?
Yes, but I would say not I've seen some people during the workshops and my pain released. I had a pain in the shoulder for years, or back pain, but it's because we addressed it more on a trauma basis. Like we did something and then they say, oh, my lifetime, or my pain in my back dissolved, or, you know, things happened and the body reacted positively and released. So I would say this is much more probable. We do have experts in MAP that are specializing in chronic pain, because chronic pain includes the mind, the beliefs, the fears.
Absolutely. I would say I've talked to a lot of pain experts, and they say that, you know, 70-80% of chronic pain is actually not physically based at all, even though we think it is because it feels like it, but it's actually more mind-based, nervous system based. So, which of course is all connected. I mean, we can say mind and nervous system, but that's all connected to our emotions, which is, you know, can be spiritual, energetic as well. So I think it's just all overlaps and weaves together. So I know that anytime we work with memories and our emotions, we're going to see some results.
Yes. And we have a person in the Institute, a coach, she specializes in that. Yelena Katik. She has created amazing programs on autoimmune disorders and not chronic pain per se, but autoimmune disorders and others. And she has really amazing results. So perhaps you could interview her one day, because she's really
that would be really interesting. Yeah. So Colette, I know we're going to have we'll have a link so that people can, if they're interested in trying out the 2-hour workshop, they can do that. So if you're watching or listening, check the description and find the link there. I don't know exactly what it is, but it will be there for you to sign up. And where else can people learn? Well, actually, before we get to that, is there anything we haven't talked about yet that you really want to make sure people hear?
Well, I just wanted to, yes, that it's important to work on the present, because when you are in pain, of course, you are going to focus on your present. It is fundamental to go and clear the past without having to re-traumatize yourself, like we said, because this is often the origin of what's happening in the present. But I would say that's why my method is called Make Anything Possible, because it's not about just clearing. We didn't have time to go there, but you will learn more as you go. There is an importance of focusing on the future. Who are you becoming? What is your new identity? And yes, and we don't put enough energy into our future. Attention is literally energy, and it nourishes in the quantum field, the potentials and the probabilities. So I have a third step. Actually, the first step is to begin to tap into who do you want to become.
That's my first step too. I call it desire because I call it the design blueprint, but the first step is desire. Well, who do you want to become? What is that vision of yourself you're trying to create?
Absolutely.
Love it. And this is why we're friends.
Yes. We resonate.
Yes, for sure.
But the thing is, so I wanted to say that, and perhaps leave your listeners with an exercise that was given to me.
I love it.
About the future. Okay. So you can choose 1 year from now, 3 years from now. It really doesn't matter. You can begin with 1 year. Okay. And have fun doing 3 years or even a month or whatever. So let's say 1 year. Okay. You're going to take a pen and a journal, and you get into meditation. That means just quieting the mind, taking 3 breaths, dropping into your heart center, into the present, and closing your eyes and imagining you're quantum leaping. You're literally jumping a year from now. So now it would be end of June 2027. I'm already in advance. I was already 28. No, 27. So 2027, and you close your eyes. Your intention is to be in June 2027. And you have chosen the highest timeline, the most positive, uplifting, in flow, in love, in ease, in health, in abundance, the best timeline. Okay. So your intention is you're jumping, you've walked the best timeline, you're a year from now, and you are in appreciation. It's like, wow, what a year. And you're going to write a letter of appreciation. I call it the letter from the future. You write your letter of appreciation in your journal. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 3 times thank you. It allows you to really get into the gratitude, not just in the mind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, universe. I had the most amazing year. And begin writing only what feels good, and be as general as you need to be in order to feel good all the way. I met amazing people. We had great. My body is responding very amazingly positively. This is happening. I'm feeling excited in the morning. I wake up, I jump out of bed, or, whatever. So you keep going and going and describe that. Okay. And then you can go deeper. You can go to the moment where it happened. If something, you can choose one of the things that happened, and out of the whole letter, and then go deeper on that one. And say you traveled, you were able to travel, and you traveled to Japan or to Greece, and you're going to take that one. And then you focus on that and you say, well, I went to Greece and it was amazing. And that kind of gives more of what did you see? What did you hear to make it
Right.
really real? Okay. I went to the Parthian and I took a boat to the island of Crete. And here we go. We had so much fun. And you see, now it's becoming a real for your brain.
Right.
All right. And you can keep going if you desire. And yes, there is more. But go for that. And I would say do it every day. You have your journal. You can do 3 years, 1 year, 1 month, etc. And then read it. And you will see how you're actually creating your life.
I love that. And do you encourage people to make like a vision board kind of thing, or is that not necessary?
So with MAP, we have 2 aspects. Is once you have cleared the past and you begin to have energy, you see, that means you have ability to use your attention for something else. You have noticed that when you begin to be free, you have attention, you can focus, you're not completely stuck into what's happening. So when you begin to have some freedom because you have cleared enough, okay, so now you can go into your future. Now with MAP, we have another use of the superconscious, is we're clearing the future. So not only we first begin to clear the past, but then once you have energy, you have your to-do list. You want to go to Greece, but you have plenty of doubts and fears and stuff on your way, or you have fear of flying. Okay, clear the fear of flying. You see, that's blocking you from buying your ticket. You clear what's blocking you on the go, on the way. And that's why I personally am a peak performance coach, because I help people realize their dreams to the highest potential. And by clearing the blocks on the road, we always have some, a little bit of a plateau of this, especially when you have a business, you constantly reach another plateau. So that's what you can do then with MAP. That's why it's called Make Anything Possible.
I love it. Amazing, Colette. It's really, really fabulous, fabulous framework. And I love that you're obviously, your curiosity and quest led you to keep on going, keep on going, keep on going till you were really encompassing all parts of the person. Not just a physical person, right? Body, mind, and spirit. So beautiful, beautiful. I love that. So what would you say if someone was going to do one thing today that would shift their body into a healing state? What would you say that one thing would be?
Quieting the mind. And MAP helps too. Taking 3 breaths. Taking 3 breaths is kind of the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Because it calms the nervous system. It gives the brain the ability to calm down. And when your ego mind calms down, the brain with all the conditioning, you're back into your body, you're back into your heart. And now the nervous system is switched to a more open to heal. So your nervous system goes from stress, protection, sympathetic to parasympathetic, which is healing mode. Just taking 3 breaths and then staying in that quiet, focusing on your heart and thinking something positive like I am love, I am presence. And several times a day. And then when things come up when you are quiet, you might have memories coming up or things coming up. No judgment, take notes and then go and clear it.
Beautiful. I love that. Where can people, aside from the link to the workshop, which we will have, where can people find out more about you and the work that you're doing?
Yes, it's the MAP, M-A-P, coachinginstitute.com.
Okay, the mapcoachinginstitute.com. We'll have those links. And are you also on social media?
Oh, yes, everywhere. Instagram,
Yeah.
MAP Coaching Institute, Facebook,
Okay.
also Map Coaching Institute. Um, and what else? The good news is, remember, with Jane, she has a little gift for you. So, of course, you can go to the Map Coaching Institute and you will find the way to my workshop. And I encourage you to go through Jane because you will get a little discount. You
Yeah.
can enjoy that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for providing that discount for our audience, Colette. So you'll find that, everyone watching, listening, just check the description and you'll find it in there. And then you can go to Colette and learn more about and experience the MAP method, clear something that's been bothering you that might be holding you back, stopping you from healing or stopping you from living your life fully. So thank you, Colette. Thank you so much for this body of work that you've put together. That is amazing work, and also just for being a guest on this podcast today, but for sharing your work and the enthusiasm that you have. That's what I really love about you, is your enthusiasm and the work that you're doing. That enthusiasm led you to not giving up until you found a way to access all parts of the person and create this work to help people really clear their traumas and negative experiences so that they can live their lives fully. So thank you so much, Colette.
Well, thank you, Jane, for being here on this planet and sharing the good news and helping everyone you touch. So I am honored.
Love it. To everyone watching and listening today, make sure you take advantage of that of this workshop that Colette's put together, and so that you can experience this yourself. And maybe you know someone else that needs to hear about this. So please also share this with them. All right, take care, and we'll see you again soon on Wellness by Design.